Welcome to Amanda's Kitchen Edit. Today we're going to be making sushi. And fear not, it's surprisingly easy to make. We're going to keep it simple today, but there's a great thing to do for Valentine's Day with a loved one or with your family. It's super fun. First, to start, you're going to need to make sure you have sushi rice. You want to start out by immediately just getting some water, covering your rice, and immediately dumping it out, just for a first good rinse. This is the time when your rice will soak up the most water. Then we're going to just start rinsing this, and you're going to just run your hands back and forth, not too rough. You just want to agitate the rice enough, but you don't want to squeeze it or break it. You just want to lightly glide your hand back and forth. And we're going to rinse this about 5 times until the water becomes clean.
Chapter 2, Rice.
While we let our rice dry, I'm going to show you how to make the mixture that we're going to need to put onto the rice after it's cooked. You're going to start out with, for every 1 cup of rice, you want 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. So for every 1 cup of rice, 2 tablespoons sugar, 2 tablespoons rice vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of salt.
Can you go over that one more time?
No. So you'll mix it all together in a bowl, or I'm using a measuring cup, and you want to just stir it with a whisk, or you could pop it in the microwave for maybe 15 seconds and just let that sugar dissolve. But you want to make sure before we pour this on the rice that sugar and salt is totally dissolved. A few other things that you're going to need to make the sushi are sushi rolling mats. You can get these on Amazon. I just went on Amazon and looked up a sushi making kit, and that's how I got mine. But you will need these, and I usually cover them in plastic wrap before we start so the rice doesn't stick all over them. Now, we're just going to wait and chill out for a while our rice dries. Our rice has dried for about 10 to 15 minutes in a strainer, and we're now ready to cook it. You're going to add 1 1/4 cup of water for every 1 cup of rice. 1 1/4 cup water for every 1 cup of rice. I'm using an Instapot if you want to use a rice cooker, or if you want to use just your stovetop. If you do use the stovetop, you want to
make sure you know what you're doing.
You want to set it to medium high and bring it to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, put the top on it and reduce it to medium for 10 minutes. And then without removing the top, after 10 minutes, reduce it to low for another 10 minutes. And that's how you would cook it in a regular pot with a top. But we're going to use the Instapot today. And I've already got my water in there. And I'm going to put my rice in there. It's nice and dry, so it's coming off my strainer really nicely.
You know, it's the Insta in the Instapot that appeals to me the most.
So I've got my rice and my water in there. I'm going to make sure my steam is set to not vent. And I am just going to press the rice button on this. And we're good to go. So we'll see you back here in about, 15 minutes. The rice is finished cooking. I have transferred it to another bowl. Real sushi rice, they use these really wide wooden bowls, but we're keeping it simple, remember? So I've got it transferred here. A wooden spoon really is best. If you don't have a wooden spoon, try a fork. What we're going to do is take the mixture that I showed you earlier, and we're going to pour this over the rice. I did pop in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and you just want to make sure that's fully dissolved. And instead of pouring it right in, we're going to pour it over our spoon because we want it to sort of fan out and get spread out nicely over the entirety of the rice and not end up all in one spot.
That's getting more coverage than the Epstein files.
There we go. Okay. You want to be very gentle with sushi rice. You want to maintain the structure of it. So we're going to gently fold and cut. Lightly fold and cut. And by cutting, I'm cutting into these pieces that you'll see like that. I'm cutting into it. We don't want to roughly stir this. We just really want to be very gentle with it to keep the rice in its happy place. Good job. Sometimes I can't find the word.
Sometimes words can be hard.
So fold, cut, and just continue to do this until you don't have any more lumps.
Just continue to do this until you don't want to do it anymore. Call it a day, pack it up, go home, get delivery on the way home, take out.
No, we're eating sushi for dinner. So I'm almost there.
Imagine a 24-hour streaming video of just this, stirring the rice.
I think that's probably good, right?
You said so.
You're going to want to have a bowl of water because this rice is going to stick to your hands like crazy. So this bowl of water, as we're working with the rice, we're going to be dipping our hands in the water just like you would oil with bread dough. And so what you're going to need to make this is your mats that I explained earlier. You can get them on Amazon. You might be able to get them in the international aisle of the grocery store, maybe. I'm not positive. Or you could get them at your international market. You do want to cover them in plastic wrap because once we do this, your sushi rice will stick to your
everything.
Yeah.
It'll stick to your everything.
I prefer to put plastic wrap on my sushi mat before rolling it. We've got a variety of different things here. Typically, a California roll is going to be cucumber, avocado, and crab. We're doing this a little differently because neither of us are crazy about avocado. For the cucumber, you want to cut it in half long ways. And then you want to take a spoon and scoop the seeds out, like so. I'm not going to do this whole thing. I just want to give you an example. So once you've got all the seeds out, you'll slice it long ways, as thin as you can, because we are going to be rolling this into a fairly small roll. So you're going to slice it like so. And then you do also, we thought jalapenos would be good in this. So I've taken a jalapeno and I've sliced it long ways. And I've also de-seeded it. Whenever I handle jalapenos, I always wear a glove. Got dogs, and no matter how many times you wash your hands, that jalapeno always seems to stick there. And then you just want to cut these in long strips as well, like so.
Like how?
Like so.
Oh.
Yeah. See? So. And then for the carrot, instead of having to try to cut this carrot into strips, I first start out by peeling the carrot. And then once I've got it peeled, I'm going to trash this. And then just peel the entire carrot, and those are your strips that you can put into your sushi. Like so. Sorry.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So that, let me scooch this over here. is how I ended up with this. So I've got my cucumber, I've got the jalapeno, I've got carrot, and I've got imitation crab. If you can get real crab, go for it. But right here, we've got the imitation stuff. You do want to make sure that your rice is cool enough to handle. So once it's cool enough for you to handle, you can start making your sushi rolls.
How do you know when it's cool enough to handle?
Just touch it. Stick your finger in it. You're also going to need nori. You can get this in your international aisle or at your international market. It's pressed seaweed, and this is what holds everything together to make your sushi roll.
It's better than depressed seaweed. This makes for a bad, sad time.
We are going to start out, and there's probably a proper side to do this on, but again, we aren't sushi connoisseurs, and we're keeping it simple today. I did find you do want to use the longest end or the longest piece of nori going horizontally to yourself. This is too long for a California roll, so you want to cut a good 2 inches. I'm going to cut the end of my nori off.
Oh, nori!
So that's about how much I cut. And then I'm going to get my hands a little wet and get a nice chunk of rice.
Spread it on.
And you want to roll it. You do not want to mash it. Again, this whole process, we're trying to maintain the structural integrity of that rice. And just get your hands wet as it becomes too sticky. And we're just rolling it. We're not mashing it. We're just and being very gentle with the rice. Now, as you roll this up, it will cover some of these holes where you can see the nori. So you don't need a ton of rice, but just enough to cover the outside of this nori. I did do some research on California rolls, and I found out that the reason the rice is on the outside, this is basically an inside out roll. The nori is usually on the outside, but the way we roll this, the rice is on the outside. And the reason being is because Americans in the 70s found pressed seaweed unappealing. So they developed the inside out roll so the Americans would see the.
They did it inside out because Americans thought seaweed was icky.
Yeah. So now I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to flip it right side down onto my mat. I'll lift it up, and the rice sticks right to that piece of seaweed. So it's great. This is surprisingly easy, everybody. And then we're going to start with our cucumber. If you had cream cheese and you sliced the cream cheese in strips, it's great on these. And then I've got some imitation crab. I'm just going to split this in half so I can fit it all like so. Add a little more crab. I like crab.
It's a meaty roll.
It's going to be delicious.
Do you fancy a nice meaty roll?
And then I've got the jalapeno because we like it spicy.
Also known as jalapeno.
And I'm going to add some carrots. You don't have to. Classically, this is crab, avocado, and cucumber, but we're changing the game. How you want to do this is you want to lift up the mat and put your thumbs behind the mat. And you want to put your fingers at the top and sort of pinch. See, I'm pinching, and I'm gradually trying to close that roll. Once you've got it somewhat closed, got rice sticking in my fingers, you're going to pinch it. Just pinch it real good.
Ooh.
Right? And then I'm going to move up a little bit. I'm going to pull my mat up because you don't want to roll your mat into your sushi roll. But you keep gradually rolling forward and pinching Roll forward and pinch until you think you've got the whole thing done. If you're not sure, you can open it up and check. You're not going to hurt it. And I've got some creases there. I want to give mine another good pinch. So I'm going to close it. Roll. Pinch and roll. Pinch and roll. Okay. Done.
Now we deep fry it.
We did try that last night. It didn't quite work out, but so look, you've got your sushi roll. It doesn't look quite like sushi yet, but we'll get there. So I always cut the ends off. I know it's wasteful. And remember, keep getting your hands wet as the rice sticks to them. And then you want to cut them about an inch wide. And you want to cut with a sawing motion because you don't want to pinch it if you just lay your knife right down. And dip your knife in water, and that will also keep it from sticking to the knife. So I'm doing a sawing motion. Saw. Dip in water. Dip in water as you go, and it'll just keep it looking nice and neat. We got a thief.
Texas.
We got to pay him for working the camera, so pay him in food. All right. So now got our little plate, our chopsticks, and then it is ready to serve. Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Oh yeah.
We like to have our sushi with wasabi, which you can also get at your international aisle in your grocery store, or you can get this at the international market. They've probably got tons of kinds, but this is what we happen to get. All right. So I like to put a little bit of wasabi in a bowl. If you have anything you have, a shot glass, something to put soy sauce and wasabi. So we've got the low salt soy sauce, but you can get whatever kind of soy sauce you like. I think it's actually not proper to do it this way, but this is my favorite way because I just love spicy. And I like how doing it this way gets the spicy in every bit of that roll. And then you dip. It's so good.
We'll fast forward.
Do you see how easy that was? That was not hard at all. I've had friends come over and they get totally into it because everybody can do it and it's so much fun. So I hope you try this at home. Great Valentine's idea. Wink, wink. Thank you for watching Amanda's Kitchen Edit.